Relaxing with an ounce of cushion, enjoying all the laughter. He said, she said, skipping past his chapter. Shorty with that pretty smile, pregnant, her ex blaster. Commented she only swallows, took that morning after. Even now,
how you guys doing? This is Michael Seuss with Bars and Joysticks, where hip-hop media meets gaming. I know a couple of you guys saw my last video. I appreciate the support, the comments, and the new subscribers. So before I get started on this new one, go ahead, click that notification bell, subscribe, check out all of our other social media links, and stay connected for all of our weekly content. Now, my last video was about the more nerd culture with the Nintendo Switch, Netflix and anime, Pokemon. Anyway, that is not the case for this video. We're gonna get straight into these bars for all of you guys. And I know that this is about 2 weeks overdue, but never fear, MS E0 is here. Now, this video for today has to deal with the J.Cole Noname situation. J.Cole song, Snow in the Bluff, Noname's song 33. Now, I reviewed both tracks and I wanted to talk about that situation today, and originally I was gonna keep it straight on to those two tracks because social media kind of blew it up out of proportion. And now, while listening to both tracks today, I feel like this goes into a deeper problem with hip hop in general, so I'm going to cover that. Now, first, let's get into J. Cole's song, Snow on the Bluff. Now, me being the person that I am and constantly scouring and lurking around the internet, I know that sounds really freaking terrible, but Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everybody had made this thing seemed out like this was an attack on gender, attack on feminism, all this, that, and the third. When J. Cole, known for his lyrical prowess, all this other kind of stuff, and I'll get into all of that later. His biggest thing, in my opinion, is storytelling and social commentary. And although, yes, those are definitely huge factors of lyricism, not the overall tree, there are branches on it, they're very particular, and it's not niche per se, but only a few people are able to do it. So I'll give J. Cole that shout out now, but the social commentary aspect of this track was all over. And the layout and the format was actually something that I wasn't really expecting, because you had a lot of people basically making this seem like it was almost like a scathing diss or like it was sideways, and that wasn't the case at all. First, he went ahead and he, like I said, social commentary, he actually gave himself criticism, said he's not above criticism, and said, hey, I got a lot of y'all fooled type thing, or a lot of y'all are fooled. I have average intelligence, I have an average IQ, you guys are looking at my college degree, you guys aren't listening to the words that I say, that type of thing. We have this female MC here who's bright, intelligent, he called her a queen, all that type of stuff. And then he proceeded to say that she pretty much has a message that we right now really need. And then the only criticism that he gave her, as in Noname, was the fact that pretty much he felt that the angle that she's coming from is holier than thou. He actually used that phrase in one of the bars. Basically, you can't expect to reach people if you're coming from that angle. You're going to turn people off. And I can tell you right now, as somebody who's struggling with rebranding now on my own personal stuff, my own music, I wasted a good half a decade being an idiot on social media. Not saying that's her, but it could be the smallest aspect when you're coming off too preachy or holier than thou, like you know this, that, and the third more so than your contemporaries or your peers. It's just not gonna go over well. You get what I'm saying? That's all really he was saying. And to be honest, before I get into Noname's part and then I go into the meat and potatoes of the video, first of all, these tracks are super short. Noname's song 33, I believe, is 1 minute and 10 seconds. And if you take off the singing, the interlude portion of J. Cole's song, Snow on the Bluff, it would be super short, man. You get what I'm saying? And this is what I need to kind of really drive home on both of this. Both of these songs, to me, if we're talking straight up scathing, this is their lukewarm. As songs, they're both great. Next, we have Noname's song 33. And this is the first time I'm actually hearing anything from Noname. So I was really impressed. And I actually really want to check out more from her. So if anybody has any recommendations on Noname before I get started on this, definitely shoot that in the comment section and be like, hey, Michael, MS, hey, Seuss, this is really dope by Noname, you should check it out. First two bars, I'm hearing the word patriarchy. Look, I understand that we live in a day and age, and I know this type of BS has gotten me in trouble on numerous occasions on social media in over a decade. So I'm really not gonna try to go too much into feminism and all that stuff. My views on that has nothing to do with this video unless it's talking about the context of these songs. And I really feel like that's a cheap shot because Son didn't say anything that I felt personally and before anybody goes, oh, you're a man, you're like, look, man, like he didn't say nothing about her gender on some stuff. He literally said your approach is holier than thou. He did not bring all of womanhood, the feminist regime. He didn't bring any of that into that. And if your message in general, especially with being lyrical and true lyricism, if that is your actual objective, then yes, being quiet to an extent on social media and kind of, stepping on eggshells, man, that's the way to go. As someone who completely tanked his career, lost his deal, all that type of stuff, I can tell you off top that it's not the way you want to go. I don't follow her on Twitter. I don't follow J.Cole on Twitter. I don't follow any of them on Instagram. I don't like any of their pages on Facebook or any of social media. I don't consider myself that type of a fan of them in general. So I can't say that that's her approach, but I can say that if indeed it comes off like that to a lot of people, then yeah, you're gonna be kind of trailing along in certain aspects. She had like a cool little metaphor about blood and all this other kind of stuff. With patriarchy, I guess, is like killing their voice, maybe, I guess, or something like that. Like it was mad dope. Like it was John Blaze. Like I'll give her that. Like we're not talking about that. But what I am saying though is, to me, it was kind of a turn off because it's like this is where you're leading from. Okay, and then she's basically saying, oh, there's way more going on right now that you could be talking about instead of responding to what I'm doing, type of a thing. Do you get what I'm saying? And that was kind of basically, to make a long story short, the whole aspect of her song. And again, it was only a minute and 10 seconds pretty much. So I don't feel like I need to really go into anything other than her rapping, spot on, amazing, freaking dope, yo. And then she truly understands boom bap. Not just from, because a lot of people, y'all call it lo-fi and stuff like that. She truly understands the roots of the canopy of not only this genre and this tradition, but she understands how to map her flows out. You get what I'm saying? So to me, being who I am, anybody who knows me, like that huge big ups to Noname for the response on that front, on her rapping ability. Now let's get back on topic about lyricism, and it will explain exactly why I feel the way I feel on this subject, and it will also pretty much give you a guide of where I'm coming from in any hip-hop video I do. Because I personally believe that as far as flow, instrumental, all that stuff, lyricism plays the most pivotal part in the song. And we're not talking about ear candy hits here. We're not talking about that. So, now, here's the deal. I understand that a lot of people are pretty much using the last 10 years as a buffer. But you gotta understand that hip hop in general is basically about 50 years old. And there are a lot of people who have came and a lot of people that have went. And 20 years ago, 30 years ago, in the 90s, or even in the 80s, about what, 40 years ago now? It's been that long, guys. You gotta understand that there's a lot of ear candy hits for the decade. You get me? And when you get into that, that will always be defined by the style of music that is being created at that point, period. Now next, we're talking about storytelling, we're talking about wordplay, we're talking about punchlines in certain cases. I feel like when you use assembly format, it's a no-go for me. That's just me personally. And then social commentary, you could talk about anything that you want in a rap song. That is one of the beautiful things about our genre. And I know it may seem like I'm coming way left field and on a tangent, but you gotta give me just 2 seconds to link everything together. And you're gonna be like, now, anyway, pretty much, I already had said that J. Cole came from a social commentary standpoint. Noname pretty much came from just a quick slap response, who doesn't really constitute to me as a warning shot, but here we're gonna get into it. Most of Noname's points seem to go at misogyny or just, you're too big to be going at this. You really kind of need to, shouldn't you be doing better things with your time? Like, we have all this stuff going on with the protests, COVID type stuff. You should be talking about all that stuff, that shit lane anyway. But the whole thing, to wrap it around, he pretty much shot her response down out of the sky before it came out, because he had already addressed that within the first 8 bars. He had already addressed that. He has said, you're fooled by this, you're fooled by that, I'm not that intelligent. That's, you know what I'm saying? I have y'all fooled. Who you all think I am, I'm not that guy. So, when you're taking meanings out of a song that do not exist, and yeah, certain bars have double entendres, triple entendres, all that type of stuff, but really, when you go ahead and you branch off a lot of what's being said and a lot of his music, it really is kind of clear cut, man. It's clear cut. He's saying it straight up. It's just, oh yeah, man, that man said the sky is blue, but I really think he meant orange. It's that type of equivalent. I don't understand where you get blue and orange from, how you can get that mixed together. It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. And then a lot of people are going based off of emotion in this. You get what I'm saying? It's, oh yeah, she called him a misogynist. He's a misogynist. He didn't do that to these light-skinned girls. I've heard that before. I'm not saying that was what she said. I'm not saying that's what he said. And that's my whole point. Like, before coming onto these 2 tracks, I felt like listening to both of these were super underwhelming, because it felt more like these 2 were having a conversation than actually dissing each other. And I feel like a lot of people who are listening to this genre now, who are even my age, I don't think that y'all really on hip hop that much, because I'm gonna be honest, like, if this is your example of it, y'all need to kind of go through the last 25 years and really kind of like peep game on what's been kind of going on. You know, I feel like with a lot of people, the scope is super narrow. I mean, it's kind of affecting what's being put out in the mainstream today. And I really hope that one day soon, very soon, we can get back to, it doesn't necessarily have to be like how it was in 94 or 90 or 96, but I kind of want some sort of a middle ground. And a lot of MCs in general who are legends have actually spoke on this middle ground for the last 15 years. So hopefully we can get that. Big shout out to J. Cole. Big shout out to Noname. Let's keep it peace and unity and all that type of stuff. And with how she sounded, I feel like she gives Son a run for his money on a track. I would love to hear that, they'd be like, oh, let's cut out all the BS and let's come together and actually make a song about what kind of happened, and let's kind of talk about the protest and the George Floyd and stuff. And this is it for the video. Again, comment, like, subscribe. Forgive some of my tangents. I'm still pretty new at this. Definitely, again, hit that notification bell. Hit up that Patreon. Taj just dropped a new video going in the heart of Largo, Florida, in the heart of conservative America, and having straight up conversations and interviewing MAGA supporters, man. We got a lot of dope stuff coming out. Paco's coming out with Off Talk coming soon. William Zellians is coming out with his first solo video, so definitely be on the lookout for that. We upload weekly. And definitely hit up all of our social media. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us and like us on Facebook. Stay connected. This is Michael Seuss from Bars and Joysticks.